Hello everybody, welcome back to the Young Fan Podcast and welcome to another League One roundup. Match week 41 this weekend, back after the international break. Buzzing to be back. Not so happy with Oxford United's reintroduction after the international break, but that being said, some brilliant games of football. We've got 4 selected games, as we always do, plus a little bit more as well, because we'll look at the other fixtures, of course we will, but 4 games I want to sort of really dissect, tactically break down, look at how the game panned out, look at what it means for these teams going forward, as we now head into round 6/7 games to go until the end of the season. A decisive business end of this League One campaign. What did you think of this weekend's action? Were you happy with your team's performance and result? Let me know in the comments down below. I want to hear from you. I'll be wanting to hear your thoughts again on what you think of your side after this weekend. I'll be replying and responding to all of them as per usual. Subscribe if you haven't already as well, and leave a like. I'll wait to see if you think it warrants a like though, of course, as well. But subscribe if you haven't already. We're on the road now to 1.1 thousand subscribers, so please hit that subscribe button. We're not that far away. Anyway, let's not mess about. Let's get straight into it. We're going to start off with a bit of a relegation 6-pointer as we go to Crewe against Fleetwood Town. Now, sometimes I sort of fall into the trap when I sort of select the games. I always pick maybe the big teams with the biggest fan base. And not even that sometimes. Sometimes it is more the teams at the top end of the table. But I think this one had a real relegation vibe about it, a real relegation 6-pointer about it. Both of these teams, Crewe and Fleetwood, we'll have a look at the league table now. The game's been played, but you can see the form of both of these sides. We did a preview and prediction episode on all of the games, but we said going into this one, this was going to be an absolutely decisive game of football when it comes to relegation. And we could see the form of both of these sides. It wasn't great at all. So whoever was going to win this game, we felt that Fleetwood would really want a draw or a win from this game. Of course you would. But then you've got Crewe as well, who are bottom of the league. They desperately need a win if they got any sort of hope of getting out of that bottom 4. If they did get their win, though, I don't know if they still be able to do it. Either way, a defeat yesterday for Crewe, I think it does solidify relegation for them. Of course, not mathematically, but now over 10 points away from safety. I really can't see it happen. Like we said in that prediction and preview episode, a win for Fleetwood, or any sort of result for Fleetwood yesterday would have been massive. I mean, and they did that brilliantly. Wow, a brilliant win for them. Back on track now with a win, 37 points. Of course, no guarantee for safety, only 2 points above Morecambe, who are in 21st, but a brilliant result against the relegation rival. It would have meant a lot for Fleetwood. In terms of how the game panned out as well, it was Fleetwood that went 1-0 up, and then Christopher Long, who scored quite a few goals actually for Crewe this season, scores to make it 1-1. At that point, Fleetwood were thinking, not again. We've had disappointing results in recent weeks. Talk about Burton and others as well. Let's not have one of those silly results where we take the lead, or we're in front and we look in control of the game and then not get the result we would have wanted. It definitely feel that was the sort of vibe. Can we hold on was probably the thoughts from a lot of Fleetwood fans. And then they take the lead again to make it 2-1 in the 64th minute, and then completely end off the game, you could say, with Ellis Harrison makes it 3-1 and the third of the game for Fleetwood, and that is how the game finishes. It finishes 3-1. But a brilliant result for Fleetwood, one with such significance and holds such significance as well. We talk about a relegation fight at the bottom. I do think Fleetwood will stay up. I've got that in me. I think Fleetwood will stay up. It hasn't been a brilliant season for them. They've had changes in management. As for Crewe, they haven't enjoyed a good season really from the start, to be honest. They've had moments of looking okay, but generally across the season, it hasn't been good enough, and they do look like they are going down. That result yesterday for Crewe would have been a real blow. In terms of how the game panned out in terms of an attacking sense, you could see there, to be honest, Crewe, they had their moments in the game, from pretty much before and after half-time, a good 20-minute spell, 10-minute spell from either side of the half-time. You could see they did have really good momentum. I mean, Fleetwood took the lead, as you can see, was sort of their big spike and their only big spike they had in that first half, and then a really dominant spell for Crewe pretty much from the 35th minute of the game, 40th minute, you probably would say 35th minute, to probably about the 50th, 60th minute of the game. They get a goal just before half-time, couldn't really make most of a dominance just after half-time, and then Fleetwood with 2 really good attacks, really clinical moments in the game. They make it 2-1, they make it 3-1, and that's game, set, and match. But a brilliant win for Fleetwood, another disappointing defeat, you should say, for Crewe, who, like I said, look like they really are destined for League 2 after this result and after what's been a really quite dismal season. It finishes Crewe 1, Fleetwood 3. Fair play to Fleetwood. A brilliant result, a much needed win. Really happy with that. Right, the next game we're going to be talking about is Ipswich against Cambridge. A bit of a shock result, you could say. A bit of a shock result. Where is it? Here it is. I mean, a real shock result, to be honest. And that's not because Cambridge haven't been good this season. They have been. They've enjoyed a really good season back in League One, and after getting promoted last season, they have exceeded expectations. You could say that 110%. But it was a shock result because Ipswich are on really, really good form. They're unbeaten in their recent weeks. They come into this game with a win as well, and they're still, or I'd say were still, in the shout for a late chance of finishing in the top six. I do think yesterday's result probably does put the nail in the coffin for that. I mean, mathematically, it isn't over, but they're 5 points away from sixth spot. They've also got they've also got a game. They've also played a game more than the teams around them as well. I'm a little bit confused. I don't think Oxford are sixth in the league, unless I'm going a bit crazy. I thought Oxford slipped out of the playoffs. I'm pretty sure they did. So I'm not sure why that is. Maybe that hasn't updated, or there's something wrong with that. But yeah, I'm pretty sure. We look at the league table. No, Oxford are seventh in the league. That hasn't for some reason been refreshed, so I'll refresh that. But that is wrong. But Ipswich are ninth. That is correct. But you can still see. So that's not frustrating. That's not refreshing. But you can see here, you have got Ipswich, who going into this game probably thought they were still in for a late push, but with that game more they've played and the points being not too far away. But again, you've got games in hand and teams around them, and most teams above them have got games in hand on them. That won't help their cause at all. At home, you expect Ipswich to do much better, and a brilliant, quite brilliant home form at the moment. Really good run, to be honest, home and away. A win, as I said, coming into this game as well. I did predict Ipswich to win this game, but again, it wasn't going to be easy. We knew it wasn't going to be an easy game at all. We look at Cambridge coming back into League One this season. They've been phenomenal. 13th in the league, certainly exceeding expectations, and back-to-back wins them now as well. 51 points for a team newly promoted, the same as Cheltenham as well. Both of those sides next to each other in the league, same points, but a brilliant season in League One, both of those sides. But Cambridge really proving a shock yesterday, going to Portman Road, and to be honest, you can see the momentum graph here being just clinical. That's the answer to them yesterday. We talk about moments in games, we talk about, football being moments. It certainly is all about moments, but you can see here a dominant Ipswich performance, to be honest, and they just came unstuck. I think that's the question, and that's the answer, really. Why couldn't they get anything from the game, Ipswich? Well, I think it's because they just really didn't take their chances. They had moments in the game. They had a real force, momentum going forward. Doesn't seem that they took those chances. It didn't seem that they really, really got going in terms of taking those chances when they did have momentum in the game. Whenever we look at the stats here, dominance in possession for Ipswich. We know they like having the ball. 69% possession for them. 12 shots, 6 on target. In terms of big chances, they had for some reason it's not coming up with big chances, but you can see here on this graph as well, they definitely should have taken more of these chances. 12 shots at all is a little bit frustrating, and 6 of which on target. So again, you can see there they really did have their moments. It was a Dominic Thompson own goal that separated the two sides in the end. The 56th minute, he scored that own goal just after half time. That is a 1-0 defeat for Ipswich. But you can see here the average ratings of both sides were fairly good, to be honest. A brilliant performance from the goalkeeper for Cambridge, Mitov. That's the man to really highlight. And you can see there as well, that probably does sort the game quite well. Someone in between the six for Cambridge did a fantastic job. And that does probably tell a lot of the story. We'll have a look at that graph as well. You can see here, didn't really have many moments, to be honest, Cambridge United, but they had a spike just after half-time. That wasn't really when they got their goal, really. There was another spike from Ipswich when they had moments, and then an own goal just after that. But then it finished really strong for Ipswich. Dominant second half, a pretty dominant first half, you say, especially come the end of that first half. But it wasn't Ipswich that could get anything from the game. It was Cambridge who come away with the 3 points. A brilliant 3 points for them, and you probably would say now Ipswich's late chance of promotion push, not dead and buried, but definitely hindered quite heavily with a defeat at home to Cambridge yesterday. It finishes Ipswich 0, Cambridge United 1 at Portman Road. So then let's go to a bit of a thriller, an 8-goal thriller, 4-4. Absolutely incredible scenes at Accrington Stanley as they faced against Cheltenham Town. Goals at Accrington. We'll have a look at the league table. We've already mentioned how good Cheltenham have been. We've already said, again, Accrington being a banana skin side for a lot of teams, especially those above Accrington, you could say as well. But the recent form for Accrington hasn't been great. You could probably say the same about Cheltenham as well, really. Both sides at least 3 games without a win. That really does favour more Cheltenham, that stat. 2 defeats and, of course, that draw in the last game against Accrington. For Accrington, it's a little bit longer. 4 games without a win, 2 defeats and, of course, 2 draws, one of which was yesterday. But you can see 2 sides this season who have been, again, a banana skin and a problem for a lot of teams, and they've just been a bit of an upset. They've been a frustrating side to play, and you can see this game, 2 sides that are frustration to play for lots of other teams, coming together, a brilliant, brilliant football match. It's quite ironic, really, because both of these teams can be such a difficult side to break down, can be quite a difficult side to get a result from. They have to sort of break the game down and make it difficult for oppositions to try to get rhythm in the game, and ironically, they both found a really good rhythm in the game when they played against each other and provided a brilliant, thrilling League One game of football where it finishes 4-4. In terms of the attacking momentum graph, it was also going to be a fascinating one to watch. You can see the 2 goalkeepers, Toby Savin and Owen Evans, both goalkeepers not having the highest of average ratings. You probably could sense why, both conceding at least 4 each. But you can see here, everything really happened. It's come near the end of the game, really. I mean, not really, but more the second half. The second half was a little bit lively. It was actually Alfie May, of course it was, who made it 1-0 through Cheltenham. And then 2 injury time for half-time, extra time, whatever you want to call it, goals. Tommy Lee and Sean McConville, who's been brilliant this season on that left-hand side. He was on that left side again today, wasn't he? I'm pretty sure. And McConville, was he on that left side? Yeah, he was on that left-hand side for Accrington again. Yesterday, such an influential player, again, scoring 2 goals just before half-time to make it 2-1, and then 3-1 to Accrington as well, and that probably makes it look like it's over. And we look at Cheltenham as well. They've been so good. We look about Wickham, 5-5, 4-4 in this game. They love high-scoring, high-thrilling games of football, once again providing that yesterday. Tommy Lee makes it 3-1, as I've already said. Then William Boyle at the back makes it 3-2. You think, could they? And then Ellis Chapman makes it 4-2, an own goal. And then 4-3, Callum Wright. And then, of course, handball from Ross Sykes, the second yellow for him. And then in the 6th minute of injury time, Will Boyle gets his second of the game and rescues an absolutely brilliant last-ditch, whatever you want to call it, amazing injury time goal from William Boyle. Finishes 4-4. That is what football's all about. And that's Cheltenham this season in one game, to be honest. We've seen it against Wickham again yesterday. An absolutely phenomenal game of football. And you can see as well, we talk about Accrington. You probably would expect them to hold on in these sort of games. But unfortunately for them, it wasn't to be. And it finishes 4-4. A brilliant game of football. Finishes Accrington Stanley 4, Cheltenham Town 4. So we go to Wigan now, who hosted Bolton Wanderers. An opportunity for Wigan to get a game played in one of their games in hand, played on Rotherham, because they were in the Papa John's Trophy. Finally, they beat Sutton 4-2 this afternoon. But it was an opportunity for Wigan. It was an opportunity for them to get close to Rotherham. What could they do in this sort of game? Could they put real pressure? They could have gone top with a win yesterday. It wasn't to be. They drew the game 1-1. I mean, credit should go to Bolton. We'll come on to them in just a second. We know where they are in the league, 11th, as you can see there. But looking at Wigan, it was a good opportunity for them yesterday. Will they be happy that they got something? Yes, they will. I mean, Bolton have been a brilliant side and caused a lot of problems for a lot of teams in this league. They did have an opportunity to go top. They couldn't do that, but still, really quite interesting. They've still got an extra game in hand on Rotherham, so even with a point next in that extra game in hand they've got, they would go top. Right, with Bolton though, we'll have a look at them as well. I did an episode dedicated to Bolton not long ago, but you can see them probably not, and I'd say definitely now not in contention for top 6, but no doubt at all a brilliant season, consolidating themselves in Sky Bet League One for their first season back in there. Again, they're still causing problems, even if they are maybe out of a shout for the top 6, they're still causing problems. They're still grinding away these times, teams like Wigan, causing teams like Wigan, who were desperate to get a win yesterday to go to the top of the league. They caused problems for them and they stopped them from doing that. So well done to Bolton. Fair play to them. In terms of that, I say well done, like I'm desperately hoping that Wigan don't go top of the league. That isn't the case, but fair play to Wigan, to Bolton. In terms of the attacking momentum graph, quite a strange one really. A game of 2 halves, you could say. First half, Wigan really quite in control of the game for the majority of it. Just before half time, Bolton get a little bit of rhythm. Then the half time break then happens, and then Wigan and then Bolton sort of share quite a silent sort of first few minutes of the game, sort of up until probably 15 minutes into that second half, about the 60th minute, you could say. And then, but we look at that first half as well. Wigan really quite dominant, a really good spike, and they couldn't really make the most of it. But the first sort of few minutes of the game, they get their goal quite early on. 7 minutes into the game? Yeah, James McLean makes it 1-0. And then you get that big moment in the first half, couldn't really make the most of it. Then for Bolton, like I said, a moment there and quite a silent start to the second half. And then sort of you could say really then Bolton, when they had moments, when the game did get going, it was Bolton that had those chances, really sort of causing problems for Wigan, really coming forward those sort of attacks. And then their last attack of their big spikes, they only probably had about 3 big spikes in that second half. They were quite substantial spikes, and they did have that one. The third spike, the third big wave of attack for Bolton, ends in a goal, and it finishes in the end 1-1. That's the equaliser, and that's how the game finishes. But a brilliant, brilliant game to watch. It seems as though two really good sides have been brilliant this season, going against each other. Finishes 1-1. The man they've highlighted, Max Power, playing in midfield. Of course, we know he can play right back. He played in midfield this afternoon. Really doing quite well in that midfield. He got the assist for the goal. 72 touches, 64% pass accuracy for him. 3 key passes, though, really, really impressive for Max Power, really causing problems in midfield, dictating the midfield with Tom Naylor and then James McLean and Deriqua on either side of them. But really, really impressive game of football. But Wigan, who had an opportunity to go top spot, couldn't do so with a win. They do go joint top, though, both now Rotherham and Wigan on 80 points. They still got a game in hand, though. But fair play to Bolton. Really quite interesting game. What's this going to mean now come the end of the season? Have Wigan got what it takes to go on and win the league? We'll have to wait and see. But a good result, you could say, in the end. Not a brilliant second half, pretty deserved a draw. Both sides having their big moments in either half. Interesting stuff for both of those sides. It finishes 1-1 Wigan against Bolton. Right then, I know we sort of do 4 selected games. I want to just quickly pinpoint a few other bits and pieces as well. Sunderland scoring late on, another late goal for Sunderland. The 5th minute of injury time, Nathan Broadhead makes it 1-0 to Sunderland, finishes 1-0. Sunderland getting a last gasp win. That's going to make it really interesting. I'm going to do a playoff sort of predictor. I know I sort of did one a while back, but or a few weeks ago, could I say. But I want to sort of, now we've really narrowed it down to probably about 4 teams. I'd probably say Wycombe, Oxford, Sunderland, and Sheffield Wednesday. I want to sort of predict now their last games and really sort of add all the points up, see where that ends up, and see what our final 2 places are. I think we are now battling for 2 places now. Probably is going to be 5th and 6th. Plymouth and MK Dons sort of secured their spot. We're going to Rotherham now definitely secure their spots as well. So we are playing for 2 spots. 4 teams are going for 2 spots. 2 of those teams will be missing out. But Sunderland did a brilliant job to finish in that top 6, or attempted to finish in that top 6, getting back in those positions now with a late win against Gillingham. They keep doing that. It's frustrating. It's annoying. They did it against Crewe, scoring late on and getting 3 points. They're finding a way in the end. They were dominant. You can see their momentum graph, dominant across the game. They probably did definitely deserve to win the game, but in the end, it does finish 1-0. Same for Sheffield Wednesday, 2nd minute of injury time. Both sides scoring in injury time, both Sheffield Wednesday and Sunderland, both playoff rivals. Lee Gregory, assisted by Callum Patterson, makes it 2-1. Barry Bannon, a really good game there as well, but similar to the Sunderland-Gillingham game, Sheffield Wednesday in control, in momentum going forward for the majority of that game. You probably would say it's quite deserved. Of course, we did a dedicated match reaction from against Oxford. We won't go into that even more. You can watch my reaction to that on the channel. Still disappointed, still not over it. In terms of Wycombe, another team, like we said, another one of those 4 teams. Oxford, out of those 4 teams battling for top 6, you can see why Oxford are now falling out of the top 6 places, because every other team getting wins yesterday. Wycombe winning, Sheffield Wednesday winning, Sunderland winning, Oxford losing. That's not ideal, and that does put pressure. But fair play to Wycombe, still in for a fight now, 69 points, joint level on points with Oxford United just out of the top 6, only 1 point off Sunderland, who are in 6th spot. Sheffield Wednesday 2 points higher than Sunderland, 3 points higher than Oxford, sat on 72 points. Charlton, another disappointing result for them this season. Sort of a bit hot and cold. Inconsistency for Charlton's been a real problem for them. Lincoln, though, again, quite inconsistent, but a brilliant result for them as well. I don't think relegation is going to be a problem for Lincoln. A really good result for them at the Valley. MK Dons, the train, the winning machine, the train that just keeps on ploughing through teams. Another win for them yesterday. It's just becoming a habit for MK Dons this season. Liam Manning been absolutely phenomenal for them. A 2-0 win against Shrewsbury Town yesterday. Morecambe, bit of a surprise result. This one, Morecambe smashing 3-0. Definitely a really good result for Burton. Against Burton, sorry, not a good result for Burton at all, really. A brilliant result for Morecambe, dominant across the game as well. You can see there, Morecambe relentless in the way they played. Phillips being the man they've highlighted there. Cole Stockton getting the 3rd of the game. I mean, that's a brilliant result for Morecambe, trying to get out of that bottom 4. I think I predicted Burton to win this game. Well, I got that horribly wrong. Morecambe being brilliantly attack-minded in that game, it's to be seen. Finishes 3-0. Of course, we focus on all of those remaining games there as well. But there we go. That's the roundup. That's League One this weekend. Back after the international break. It's brilliant to be back as we now hit a brilliant point of the season. Until next time, let me know. Remember, let me know in the comments down below. You happy with your team's action this weekend? Subscribe, leave a like if you haven't already. It really would mean the world. On the road to 1.1 thousand subscribers. I cannot wait to hit that. Please be part of the journey. Until next time, I've been Jack. This has been the Young Fan Podcast. Take care, stay safe, and see you all very, very soon. See you in a bit.